don't need to quit your 9 to 5 today in order to build your dream business. You just have to figure out what time you do have and use it on purpose. So in this video, I'm going to pretty much be breaking down how you can use your extra free time strategically so that you can build your business in your part time. Now, I know when you're trying to build a business and you do have something that's taking up majority of your time, trying to build a business can seem like a second job with no real guarantee that anything is going to work. You start to question whether or not it's worth it. Where do I even start? When is the right time going to be? Do I have all of the things necessary? And then, of course, failure in business is something that a lot of people think about all the time. But the reality is you don't have to try to build everything at once. You just have to be consistent over a longer period of time and be able to use the time that you do have in order to get closer to where you're trying to be. So as far as, breaking things down, we all got the same 24 hours in a day. The people that are in the places that we're trying to get to that are successful, it's not like they had any type of extra, time that they were given that we don't necessarily have. We all have 24 hours in our day. So instead of trying to focus on, spending an extra 40 hours a week on your business, you just need to be able to block off 10 to 15 hours that you can be, locked in and completely focused on pushing and moving your business the next way until you have been consistent enough to where now your part-time business is able to pay you, more than your full-time business, and you can go all in on your business. So as far as, free time is really, really expensive. And it's expensive if you don't know where you're actually, putting your time. So the reason why it's expensive is, time is the most valuable asset that we all have because it's the one thing that we can, give, but we can never get back. So we all have 24 hours out of our day, right? So we have to figure out how to use this 24 hours. We sleep 8 of those hours. And let's just say we work 9 hours, 9 hours for work. So now we're looking at 17 hours gone already. We have 7 hours left. And let's go ahead and add 4 hours for friends, family, and fun every single day. Friends, family, fun. Fun, right? So friends, family, and fun, let's just say they take up 4 hours. You got 3 hours left. And that's not including any type of fitness or anything else. So really what we're working with, if we're being realistic, is we're working with about 90 minutes to 2 hours per day. And that's all you need. In the beginning, you have to take what you can be able to give yourself. And of course, you may have a little bit more time than this, but a lot of people at least have 1 hour of free time every single day. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is figuring out what we can be doing with our free time so that we can be able to get a result that we're looking for inside of our business, because we can't continue to make the excuse that I don't have the time, or when I find the time, or I wish I would have done X. You just have to get out of your own way most of the time. The truth is we all do have the time, but it's not going to happen overnight. Overnight success is 10 years of hard work. After 10 years, then it feels like, oh man, I blew up overnight. But reality is you've been working towards something consistently for such a long time, and your time has come. Some people, it may not take 10 years. Some people, it might take less. But it's not about comparison. Comparison is a thief of all joy. We want to just focus on where we are currently and how we can get ourselves out of our position. So as far as breaking your week down, we know that we have about 1 to 2 hours every single day that we have to work with. So we need to be able to focus on how we can structure those hours off, those 8 to 10 or 10 to 15 hours off. And the way that I like to do it, and something that has been helping me get success as well as the people that I work with find a lot of success. There's 4 different ways that you want to section your week off for your free time. So we have a session for clarity, got a session for content, section for connection, and a section for systems. Now, these 4 are extremely important because this is essentially what's going to be driving our business. As far as clarity, I'm more so focused on strategy. So as far as, having a strategy day, I like to have my Sundays as my strategy day. where I spend around 90 minutes just pretty much identifying, like, treat treat business and treat life as a game. So if you don't have any type of scoreboard in your game, that game is probably not going to be very competitive. Think about somebody playing football but there's no score, or think about somebody playing basketball but there's no score. There's people that are out there winning. Nobody will pay attention to it because at the end of the day, we're looking at it as one team needs to win or lose. So you have to treat your business the same way, but remember, the game of life is not necessarily about winning or losing. It's about staying inside of the game. So as far as the strategy, or as far as, Sunday, we want to use Sunday because it's the start of the week. We want to use that as our clarity day as well as our strategy day. So as far as being able to break down what goes into this one session, what's one result we wanted to accomplish this week and we did not accomplish it, and why didn't we accomplish it? Or what's one result that we did accomplish this week, and how do we feel about actually going and accomplishing it? Like, it's more so about reflection and what can we be able to change, moving forward into the next week to be able to get closer to the overall goal. It's all about being able to, track your growth, and then through accountability with yourself and your team, if you have one, on just focusing on increasing the short-term actions or the short-term measures that's going to give you the long-term results. So every single week is an opportunity for you to just move forward. So on Sunday, we want to be able to sit down and say, what's one result that we were able to accomplish that we feel good about? What's one result we were not able to get closer to that we don't necessarily feel good about? What's one thing that we can be able to increase in this upcoming week? Another thing to be able to focus on is what's one offer we can add into the marketplace this week. Because again, if you have a business without any type of offers, it's going to be hard for you to make any type of money. So as far as, what's one offer that has been working this past week, like reviewing our sales, reviewing how much growth we've had, and then being able to identify how to improve it. Because once we get clear through clarity on how to improve it, then we can start changing and doing the things that we need to do. As far as, making sure what we are trying to go through with this one result and, one offer, ask ourselves, what do we need to edit? What do we need to post? What do we need to do different? Like, this is kind of like a session when we sit down and we just review the facts. We review the data, and then we go ahead and we plan out for the week what we want to do differently in order for us to be able to get the result that we're looking for. So as far as, Sunday, this is something that seems very, very small, but it's going to be the determining factor for all growth inside of your business. Because if you don't take time to actually review the results, or you're not tracking the results, it's going to be harder for you to grow. So we want to be able to focus on spending time specifically to have a reflection period where we're focused on driving the business forward. And it's not about being hard on yourself. It's about being able to be real with yourself and focus on just getting results. So outside of just, clarity, the next thing that we have to focus on is pretty much our content, which is, I like to spend at least 2 to 3 nights or days per week, depending on when you have your free time. So I'll just say 2 to 3 days, right? And we'll try to just keep this separated. So as far as content, we got 2 to 3 days that we want to spend throughout the week. And this can be alternate days. It can be all in one day. However it is that you want to look at it, we're trying to spend at least, 1 to 2 hours every single day, for 2 to 3 days. I don't know why I put that twice. All right, so 1 to 2 hours. And in these 1 to 2 hours, we're trying to pretty much build a foundation. Like, this is all about building foundation, because we understand that in business, the point of creating content or making people aware that you have a specific solution is all about building authority as well as building trust. So that's what we're focused on here in the content portion days. And this is probably one of the most important times, or times to not skip over or neglect, because no matter how good or bad your content is, it's about continuously adding something to the marketplace as far as showing up as a solution. And in the beginning, you're going to suck. We all do. Nobody started out as an expert. And don't try to compare yourself to people that are full-time content creators right now and say, well, they're better at X, Y, and Z than I am. They're supposed to be because they've done more. But you have to just start out where you are right now and focus on, in your content days, focus on recording 1 to 2 long form videos, long or short form. And the reason that you want to focus on at least doing 1 to 2 is because eventually we're going to repurpose this 1 to 2, long to short form videos, and we're going to repurpose it across multiple platforms. I'm gonna just put plats for there. So as far as your content, spending 1 to 2 hours for 2 to 3 days, recording 1 to 2 hours or 1 to 2 long form videos, and this is going to be the foundation to be able to repurpose content that you'll be able to post, every single day outside of these couple of days. But right here, we just want to focus on just specifically, creating content and or editing content, because I know editing is a tedious task within itself. But we got to block off sections to just say, hey, I'm not going to do anything else but focus on creating content. And what you do is in your Sunday portion, you plan the content that you're going to go ahead and create, so that now you're not, rambling. You got to make the most of the hour that you get if you can only have 1 hour per day. And when you have that hour, you got to block off that time. Like when I get in creation mode, phone is on airplane mode, Wi-Fi is off, nobody can get in contact with me. I have a specific time frame that is set for me to get an action done, and nothing will be able to stop me from doing so. So focus on centering your 2 to 3 days throughout the week on creating some type of long form or short form content, and then we can repurpose that through time. And your biggest aspect is show people how, when you're creating content, create content. If you want to build content or make content that's going to get people to buy from you, you want to make content that's going to build your authority and trust. So show people how you believe, or what you actually believe in when it comes to solving a specific solution. And outside of that, show them that you actually know how to solve the solution. Like focus on creating content to educate and empower people, to helping them get away from an area that they may be stuck, by being a guy that can be able to help them avoid failure and end in success with the content that you're creating. So now that we have, our clarity as well as our content days, the next thing that we want to, focus on, and we're going to try our best to use all of our space here. But as far as our connection, we want to also spend 1 to 2 nights a week or days, however much, whenever you can be able to have the time, guys. We want to spend 1 to 2 days focused on, connecting with our audience. And connecting with our audience means that the overall point of connection is to be able to build trust faster. So in the beginning, especially if you don't have a product out in the marketplace, you don't need to try to build something to sell to people first. You need to figure out how you can build trust a lot faster in that particular marketplace. And the only way that you can be able to do that is by spending time with the people that are in your marketplace, or that your specific audience is, centered around. So the question may come, well, where do I find those people? Facebook, like try to go and join Facebook groups, or just type in on Google, trying to like networking events that may have your audience. You got to spend time, especially in the beginning, spend time with people and help them for free. Because if you can go inside of these group chats where people are your ideal client may be, and you can see what type of problems that they're dealing with, there's other creations or other content creators and other solution providers that are in that space that are probably helping those people in the group chats. So you can go and you can be able to be a student as well as a teacher in the same way, because it's not necessarily, it doesn't take much for you to give back. At the end of the day, your experience is enough. And if you can go inside of these group chats and find people that are your ideal clients and help solve some of the problems that they are able to have, you are creating authority by being a person that's showing that you have some type of solution. And reality is, your experience is a solution within itself. So don't be afraid to go and, be a leader in communities, and expose what it is that you do or do not know in these communities, because it's all about being able to learn. And we're all in this together. We're all able to learn from one another. So as far as, outside of just building connections in this particular in group chats, also spend time, like use this day, if you already do have clients or people that are paying for your products or customers or whatever, spend time with those clients or asking them questions or reviewing data for their specific story. Like how is my product treating you, or how are you enjoying my product? What are you able to get away from my product? And is this something that I can improve upon? The only way that you can be able to do that is through spending time connecting with your specific audience. And again, really, if you want to just simplify it, figure out how you can answer questions for free and provide value for free. Because that's what this is all about. It's not necessarily like this is the background work, the foundation work that's going to later down the road make it to where you can have more than just 8 to 10 hours to spend. You'll be spending 20 hours a week on your business, but it'll be paying you double or triple whatever, 40 hours at a 9 to 5 can. So we got to focus on the long-term vision. Don't focus on the short-term goal. Focus on the long-term vision. And this connection is something that we cannot necessarily skip. We don't want to skip it because at the end of the day, this is where the fruit and this is the foundation of our business. Because at the end of what we're trying to focus on is just planting seeds every day. People are not just going to buy your product because they like you. They're going to buy your product because they trust you and they look at you as somebody that is authoritative, or you just know what you're talking about. And I trust people that know what they're talking about. So the last thing that we want to focus on is our systems, right? And systems we want to pretty much use, or either Saturday or just your weekend block in general. Like figure out how to spend 1 to 2 hours in your weekend block to identify, or not necessarily identify, but sharpening your systems. So as far as the systems, we know our goal is to be able to get a person from a stranger to a paying client. So what's in between that is, lead magnets, sales funnels, email campaigns, whether you're launching a new campaign or whether you're reviewing a new campaign, you got to spend time focusing on enhancing these systems, reviewing the systems. How well are these things actually working? The biggest part of business is just reviewing what's working and what's not working, and stop doing what's working and focusing more on what does work. And that might seem simple, and it really, really is simple, but what's simple to do is also simple not to do. So as far as, your systems, and if you don't have a sales funnel set up or you don't have your buyer journey set up, this is an opportunity for you to learn how to do those things, how to increase your systems. And if you don't have any type of system, realize that you are stuck with a hustle. And we want to get out of having a hustle. We want to build a business. So focus on the systems that's going to get your result that you're looking for, which is profit. So outside of these are the these are the four sections that we have to each week. And we pretty much want to, and I'll break this down in a simplified aspect so that we can just kind of see what every day or what an ideal week should look like if we use these 4 blocks. So we want to have our clarity, we want to have our content day, we want to have our connection day, and we want to have our systems days. But somebody may ask, man, well, how do I actually just make time for that? You make time for it by simply identifying that you have the time and then taking action on the time that you do have. So as far as Sunday is all strategy. So clarity. Spend 90 minutes on clarity. Where's your business at? Where do you want your business to go? Monday through Thursday is pretty much connection and content days. Connection, content / creation. Well, yeah, it is creation, but content / connection. So maybe Monday you focus on content, Tuesday you focus on connection. Or maybe, Monday and Tuesday are your content days, Wednesday and Thursday are your connection days. And then, your Saturday / weekend is pretty much enhancing your systems. And then we also have a reserve time, because this is important. It's all about balance. Reserve time is this is for family, fun, taking care of your health, fitness. Like you got to have this time reserved as well. So if we're looking at this and we can see, okay, well, I need to spend about 90 minutes here. I need to spend maybe 1 to 2 hours a day on my content and my creation or my connection. I need to spend about 90 minutes here on my systems and enhancing my systems. And if I don't have systems, I need to be learning how to create better systems. And then I also have my reserve time for my friends and family. So we're really focused on this section right here. And in reality, we got about 8 to 10 hours that are free every single week that we can use. And this is the 8 to 10 hours that we have to continue to remain consistent with and focus on. It's a marathon, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's still some type of race, but we're trying to set a pace for ourselves. We're not trying to run the fastest right now and burn ourselves out. We got to use what we have and use what we have in order to get out of the situation that we are currently in. And don't make the excuse that you don't have the time, because that's not going to change anything for you. Once you accept that you do have the time, you just have not been using the time correctly, then you can be able to make changes, and these 8 to 10 hours will start getting you some type of results. So if you're taking the action in these particular time blocks, you're going to get to where it is that you're looking for, and do it really, really, smooth and easily. The goal is to be able to build one system and spend 8 to 10 hours, building one system. You don't have to try to focus on doing all of this stuff at one time. Like, just focus on one thing. Get good at one thing really, 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 really well first. Like, get good at that first, and then worry about, trying to diversify. So if you have to spend, like, if it's taking you a while to get to systems or in content and connection, then focus on one of these before you can be able to move to the next one. But one thing that is not, or two non-negotiables, and I will say this every time, is we got to have reserved time for, our friends, family, fun, health, and all of that stuff, fitness, or whatever the case may be. But you also always need a time for clarity and strategy. Because if you're moving without strategy, then you're just doing a lot of things through guessing, and guessing is not going to get you anywhere. It's going to have you in a circle, and that circle is going to eventually run you tired and exhausted, because you're putting in a lot of effort, but you're not going anywhere fast. So never skip your clarity days. Focus Monday through Thursday on content and connection, and then Saturday or some type of weekend block that you can give yourself. Focus on your systems and your customer journey, and making sure that you can improve that. And always give yourself your reserve time. So outside of this, guys, I'm gonna give you just the 5 biggest things to kind of avoid, especially when trying to figure out where your time currently is. So as far as the biggest mistakes that you want to not have to deal with, and this is something that I had a lot of trouble with, because in the beginning, guys, especially when you're starting out, you don't really know what is right versus what's wrong. You're just going through the flow. So I always like to try to give back. And the biggest mistake that I had to get over was posting without a plan and expecting results. So you can't post, you can, like, when you're going through all of this stuff, guys, the reason why Sunday is your most important day is because every action that you take should be planned. And of course, sometimes the plan is not going to go as planned, but we want to take control of our business, and you take control by just being intentional, and don't overcomplicate it. I know our minds can be very complex. Another mistake is just trying to keep up with people that full-time create, trying to keep up with the Joneses. But no, for real, like, trying to keep up with full-time creators and comparing ourselves to these people, saying that we're not able to execute because they are doing more than us. Comparison is the thief of all joy. So we don't want to try to keep up with full-time creators. Just focus on the time that you have right now and use the time that you have, instead of just going through and doing things willy-nilly. The next thing would be, um, what's another mistake that I definitely want to be able to give people? Oh yeah, binge learning, but not applying. So this is something that is extremely important. because everybody is going to come a point in time where you're going to get to the same point of education. Like the stuff is going to become the same. Like you know what to do, but you just have to take the action. So instead of just focusing on, oh, I need to learn more, I need to learn more, no, you have to be uncomfortable and take the action. When you are uncomfortable and take that action, realize that your experience is going to be the best teacher. A lot of people are scared of failure, but you can't be afraid to fail because failure is just the first attempt at learning. And if you're afraid to take the first step in learning, then how can you get to the step of success if you wanted to skip the learning aspect? So binge learning, but no application. You do have to take time to learn, but once you have learned enough, even if you don't know enough, it's better for you to go out here and apply and mess up because that's going to be your best teacher. And another thing is because this video was really specific around, being able to use your free time, quitting, like, don't quit too soon. Quitting your quitting your 9 to 5 too soon. So your job right now, guys, is not in the way. It's not in the way. Your job is your funding partner. But being a partner, you have to also do your part. Like your job is the one that's going to fund your business, but you have to use your free time outside of your job and use that to be able to get out of that. Like that's what's going to be the first partner that you have as far as making sure that you can get the necessities that you need to drive the business. So don't quit the 9 to 5 too soon. Like focus on using your free time first. And when you are using your free time and you are starting to get in a groove of things and you start to see some type of results from the free time that you created, you can go from taking those 8 to 10 hours and turning them into 15. And then once we get to the point of, well, okay, now my 15 hours are able to get me some type of result that I'm looking for, then you can go all in. And one thing that I will say is there's going to be a point in time where you do have to go all in. You cannot skip going all in. Because if you're halfway in, halfway out, you're going to get halfway in, halfway out results. But don't quit too soon. Focus on at least building a foundation first and use your job as your funding partner, your first partner, until you have people that are able to fund you in other ways because you've been able to provide solutions to them and now they're paying you to be a problem solver. Then you can, eventually walk away from the 9 to 5 and focus on the business too soon. So outside of the last thing that I would do is just random motion, meaning no intention with your business at all, which is what the overall point of the video was to be. We don't want just random motion and doing things randomly and expecting different type of results. You got to be intentional with what it is that you're doing and focus specifically on what you want and then reverse engineer it until you get what you want and remain relentless through consistency and keep your head high and focus on the destination. Well, don't focus on the destination. Focus on the path. Focus on the steps that you take because the reward is not going to be the destination. The reward is going to be the walk, the steps that you take, because every single day is going to give you an opportunity to learn something new. So your free time right now may be too expensive. After this video, we can figure out how to make our free time something that can be able to pay us by building our business in our part-time until we get to the point where our business can pay us double or triple or quadruple what our full-time 9 to 5 is right now. So that's going to go ahead and conclude today's video. If you guys liked and enjoyed, go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.